Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time to participate this panel. And we always say never to be late for good things. We have a few minutes delay, but the good thing is coming. So today, please allow me to have more or less like 10 minutes to give a quick introduction about Honor. Okay, we have some friends maybe not that familiar with Honor, so I will seize these opportunities to give a quick introduction. And don't worry, this will be very quick. Honor is a global leading provider of smart device. So right now, we have employees of 13,000. And 60% of them actually is from R&D centers. And now we service more or less 200 million end users globally and in more than 45,000 stores and countries. And as I just mentioned, 60% of the 13,000 employees come from R&D centers, from R&D department. So all these 7,000 people, actually, they allocated in 7 R&D centers. So Honor is a company we very sensitive about like product qualities and the R&Ds for the product qualities. And you can see there is 5 R&D centers, 2 of them actually overseas, 1 in Japan, another 1 in France, and another 5 actually in our mainland from China. And after becoming independent companies in 2020, actually next week, Monday, is Honor's 4th anniversary. And for the last 4 years, Honor has become rapidly growth. And for the last 2 years, in our mainland China, Honor is the top 2 smartphone device manufacturers among all the competitors. And not only in our mainland China, globally, Honor also achieved a significant milestones. So no matter in which continent, from Europe, from Middle East, Africa, and Latin Americans, Honor is already top 5 in each regions. And talk about globally, we come back to South Africa. So after the 600% growth from last year, Honor has already become top 2 manufacturers for contract market. And this year, we keep the fast growth, and until end of Q3, we achieved a 300% achievement compared to last year. And globally, Honor have embraced the future with open collaborations. So from the slide, you can see globally we work with like partners from like BOE, with Google, Intel, and so many more. And at the same time, for South Africa, we cooperate with all the network or with our partners, network partners, career partners, as well as a lot of local suppliers like Showmax and PEP, TFG, etc. And we always want to become the premium product brand from Honor side. As you can see, that's why we cooperate with Porsche Design, and we launched the Magic V2 Porsche Design from last year. And Honor really values South Africa market, and also we always say we wanted to be the bridge between China and South Africa. We are not only come to South Africa for business, we also value the society, we also value the communities. So that's why Honor this year, we launched 3 programs. As you can see here, we participate in the government, which is YES program, and we also launch Code with Honor program. We work with a lot of NPOs and also with Department of Telecommunication, with the government, to go to the rural areas to help the students and the communities to go digital. And the last one is Honor Talent, I want to mention to you. So Honor Talent is a global competition which can bring South African talent to globally. So we know South Africa is full of talent, but just need some platform to get the talent to be found and show their talent around the globally. From our side, let's focus on, for this page, let's focus on handset side. So we have 3 different range of product for handset. The flagship one, as you can see, is Magic series, and the middle range one is the Number series, which focus on stylish and fashion. And at the same time, we also provide a wide range product selections for consumers, which is entry-level X series. And today's title of the topic is about telco of tomorrows. So what is the future of smartphone industries? Let's check some data first. So first time, according to the third-party report, first time in Africa continent, smartphone surpass feature phone. That's the first time in the history. And this year, Q1, we can see there is about 24% growth compared to last year. Actually, this is the highest growth compared to other continents. So from our side, from owner side, what is the trend? What is the future for handset, for smartphone industry? Owner believe AI and foldable are the future of this industry.
Please take a seat right next to me. I find it mind-boggling. Did you see those numbers? Just how much the industry is growing, let alone the amount of the percentage that Honor is actually taking in the market. I mean, for me, and I'm going to let you rest for a minute, I love the context you set around a smartphone is no longer just a phone. And one day we'll drop the phone word, and perhaps call it a smart lifestyle, tool. So I'm going to take that, I think the framework that you've put in and come to you, Vinod, and speak to the collaborations that Fred was alluding to, that in order to create this digital world on a smartphone, there's a lot of collaboration that's required. Google at the forefront of a lot of some of those developments. Paint a picture of the intersection for us.
Yeah, I think we are very passionate about the way we pursue Android. We are very understanding and aware of what is critical for the end user. Android serves a multitude of platforms, starting from a watch, going right up to smartphones, tablets, cars. Within this partnership, I think we've had partners like Honor that have pushed the boundaries of hardware a lot. And we've worked from a software perspective to deliver that software in a multitasking powerhouse in the form of foldables, for that matter. AI is another aspect which we are working on very closely. And to bring this partnership together, of course, there's a multitude of other things that have driven to the growth of Africa as well. We talk about a third of the youth will be in Africa by 2030. That's global youth. This demographic is tech savvy. They are very fast followers of new technologies, quick to adopt. We've seen that in the fintech evolution, how mobile money has crept in. And COVID was also a huge driver in this acceleration that has led to formulation of multiple such partnerships that have helped us see this drive.
And this drive, it comes together in what you mentioned, AI and foldables. Okay, so AI is completely, speaking about the youth that are entering into the market and how they're utilizing their cell phones. We have to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind, but we cannot leave this huge number of youth. How do you see AI coming alive on a smart device for what we are solving for in the continent, which is inclusion? How are we solving through AI and the device?
Before, AI only lies with stuff like the flagship and everything, was the flagship phones. But right now, actually, we drop the AI functions down to the middle range and maybe further even to the entry-level phones. So this trend, we think, is like how to AI will change the benefit the consumers and everything.
And it was an interesting conversation we had because we spoke about when we are entering, when people who haven't used a smart device before are entering the space, the transition should be easy enough for them to be able to utilize it, right? And utilize it to its maximum capability. So we've seen, George, you've seen the market over the years and devices come and go. Fred believes the flip phone is the future. And I find that interesting. How do you think it's going to be a sustainable part of the picture of all the phones we've had over the decades?
Well, nothing surprises me anymore, to be honest. I'm not sure that my crystal ball works as well as his, but I mean, a phone is any shape and size these days, whether it's a tablet or a phablet or whatever the words are, but they just keep on evolving. You know, the sheer thought of foldable glass some time back would be just unheard of. It would be just unheard of. So we're literally in an era where it's almost sci-fi. If you can watch something in a movie, we can bring it to life, and the possibilities exist. I think what we've got to do as collective partnerships is exactly that. So really build good networks, making sure that you get good quality with good throughputs so that you can actually use the product. Have amazing products like On have got with good operating software, and making sure that you integrate this into consumers' lifestyles. For us, if I can, from a Cell C point of view, I really believe that MVNOs will explode in South Africa. I think the way that we're going about the MVNO business is to make sure that it's kind of personalization at the wholesale level. And if you think of integrating that with a telco or a retailer and what this capability and technology can bring to life, it's really incredible. So I think there's so much growth that's still left, but you're moving away, and that's why I think there'll be some significant growth still. You're moving away from 2G, 3G, switching off those networks. You might keep a thin layer of spectrum in for machine-to-machine or telemetry, but you're going into 4 or 5G only. So prices have got to continue to come down for affordability. And it's also going to open up some opportunities for creative financing. You know, you already have basic financing options today, whether they're lay-bys or contract terms, etc., 12, 24, 36 months, etc. And now there's financing options on prepaid. So just to bring the affordability down, I think that'll get more creative. Couple that with wallets or, you know, e-wallets, I think you're starting to see a whole ecosystem evolve here.
A business, basically, a business in your pocket.
Pretty much. I mean, there's nothing that you can't do from your device anymore. It's quite incredible because it robs you of your time a little bit. So when you're in the car, you can pay accounts, send an email, receive this, do a presentation, have a live Teams meeting, and the list goes on. So, you know, it's no more. And unfortunately, people will tell you that there's 2 blue ticks that I've seen and you haven't replied immediately, you know. So your time is a lot more instant, and you got to be a lot more responsive with the technology.
Absolutely. And then we've got to discuss, like, we've all got to be comfortable with the block one as well, right? Because sometimes that one has to be used. But Vinod, you know, I think, again, let's tap back into AI. The way in which Honor itself is using AI, not as a tool, but as an enabler to actually create an interface and a relationship between myself and my device and how I operate it. Google, though, makes information accessible and easy and is there to help its consumers. How do you now integrate your philosophy and vision into the AI philosophy, into the partnership?
I think we are in the middle, or at the onset of a platform shift. We've seen this shift in the past when we were in the PC era, then the mobile era, which happens every 15 to 20 years. This is the AI era. It's a generational opportunity. At Google, as you rightly said, our mission is to organize world's information and make it universally accessible. And this also helps us remain grounded and remain relevant in the tech industry. Our applications are built ground up using AI. We've been working or developing on AI or including AI for over a decade now. And the enhancement of our apps and services has now led to AI being able to probably detect early detection of cancer through the cameras. We are doing flood forecasting. It's supporting maternal health, driving efficiencies in farming through soil health. We've done a lot of geomapping work already in Africa using AI. And eventually on the device, this is just going to supercharge every single feature or aspect that we are now used to seeing. We've already started seeing capabilities in imaging. We've started talking about real tone, which is actually, and again, an AI approach to imaging, which depicts the correct skin tone for people of color. And these are just some examples, but I think we are just unearthing the surface. From an end user perspective, we also have Gemini, which is our most capable AI model. It's multimodal. It's also conversational. And that is something we are looking to democratize AI on, basically.
And linking and talking about democratization, there's also the responsibility that we need to ensure we're keeping an eye on when it comes to AI and what it is learning and what it is being used for. What's Honor's position with regards to even the policy that the country, that South Africa has issued by the Minister of Telecommunication around responsible AI?
Just like the Europe have the POPI, like regulators. So according to the framework for according to AI, Honor as a smart device manufacturers, we are more than welcome to follow the government regulators and work under that framework. That's definitely.
And how do we see that in action? I think how do all of us, when we're speaking to our collaborators and we are collaborating, what are the conversations you're having where you check in on the responsibility and the opportunity and the balance? Maybe I'll jump through to you with that same question.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's a balance. We're busy at the moment. There's various portfolio committees, etc., on policy. And it's a little bit gray because you don't know what you don't know. And so if you regulate too hard, you compromise something. If you regulate too lightly, then of course it becomes a free-for-all and you run that risk. So it is finding a good balance, but it's finding a good balance with things that you don't even know yet. So depending on what it's used for, we've got a role to play. We've got to be responsible. So when you sell a product, you've got to sell it with the right levels of education, information, be transparent, be upfront about it. There mustn't be hidden terms and conditions and so on. But I think it's inevitable, and I think that's the point, is we've got to really lean into it as an industry, make sure that the policymakers are very aware of what this is capable of and what it's intended for, so that you manage the unintended consequences. Because normally that's what happens. You develop technology for a reason, and normally a good reason, and then in the hands of the wrong people can be very, very bad situation. And so we've got to make sure that, but I think it's a journey. My guess is that it won't be one policy that's going to stand for a while. It's going to be iterative, because as things happen, you want to regulate and make some changes and improve to make sure that consumers are protected. And when you take a young generation, they live on their devices. And people are ignorant around what they do on those devices and the kind of information that they share. The basic stuff today is rampant at the moment. If you take phishing and scamming, all sorts of stuff is happening, never mind with this level of technology.
Yeah. Vinod, you're an information company. How are you managing identifying good and bad information, especially when it comes to how smart AI makes everything?
I think we, of course, have to be grounded, and this is not just a recent event. Back in 2018, we laid down AI principles that, again, keep us compliant with policies, that keep us that put us in focus for the user, keeping their privacy, the security in point of view. Of course, from a regulation point of view, if there's a market we operate in that has its own unique policy, we have extensive teams that work very closely. And as George said, I think it's a very dynamic field. This is continuous effort. Like, we need to be jointly working because the space is evolving. It's just begun. So we've got to, of course, remain compliant in the way we operate. And at the end of the day, we also have to work together to make sure we are not penalizing the user in any way.
Yeah, and it's a tough one. And I think it's one that you are faced with all the time. Fred, I don't know if you have anything else to add about just the importance of AI before I ask you one very important question.
I think from George and Vinod, they have already answered the majority of the answers.
Yeah. Yes. I think when it comes to your business, transparency also becomes a very important question that's asked. How do you stay on top of what it is that people need to know? How do you ensure transparency and ethical behavior? How do you weave that in as the philosophy of your brand in everything that you do?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
So at Honor, as international companies, so we not only obey like the laws from China, but at the same time, like there's different laws from, like, let's say, from USA or from Europe. So we have a professional team internally, and we will study all the regulators and all the laws globally, and make sure Honor, when we do the operations, that we obey all the necessary like regulators, and we never cross the line. And because this is a long-term business for us, we're not like for short growth. So that is like the foundation and the basic lines for Honor. So.
Thank you. I'm actually glad I asked that question. And I have another one for you before we open it up to the floor. The price point. If you are seeing, and it's difficult for me to ask this question because you've really gained such incredible market share. And I want to say, what's the formula? If you can share the formula without necessarily giving too much away, why is it that Honor has managed to grow as fast as it has in this emerging market space?
Actually, we are not only growth in emerging market only. Actually, from the flagship model to the entry level, which is emerging market, Honor have a tremendous like growth. So the reason, there is several reasons behind. The first one is we do very strict selections of the product for South Africa. Actually, we have hundreds, maybe we have more than, like at 1 year, we have more than 20 models for globally. But for South Africa, we study the habit and the user behaviors in South Africa for the consumers. So we just get the right models to South Africa and suit the need for all the consumers. And the second one is, as I just mentioned, we have like 60% of our employees for R&Ds. So we make sure that our product actually is the high qualities and the consumers won't have any like after sales issues. And frankly speaking, sometimes we get some complaints from our partners. Actually, there is no business for the service side. I think that's the main two reasons for Honor to just grow so fast for the last years.
Thank you so much. Really insightful. I know it's been really digging deep, in asking these questions. So, but thank you so much. I think let's give him a round of applause for everything shared thus far. I'd love to open it up to the audience and see if you have any questions that you'd like to ask. I've got a hand over here. Let me know if anybody else wants to ask a question. We'll get a mic ready. Over to you, Faisal.
Hi, good afternoon. It's Faisal from The Citizen in Johannesburg. One of the proliferations we're seeing with regards to the smartphone industry is the proliferation of AI. And this question is for all three of you. We spoke about regulation. The minister, I had an opportunity to speak to him a while back about South Africa not being left behind as far as the AI race is concerned. But I mean, we have to face the fact AI has dominated almost every industry. Last week at the Dell Tech Forum was AI related purely. But again, like the proliferation of AI, I think George mentioned it with regards to the regulations. How soon should we see that regulations being implemented so there isn't being manipulation? I mean, I've seen deep fakes during the elections that just went past and people being duped into thinking that a certain politician supports others. How often or how quickly should that regulation be implemented?
I think which one of our panel members would like to take that?
I'll take it.
Please.
I mean, the obvious answer is as soon as possible, and that's the point. I think just to add, we have a great working relationship with the minister and the various committees and portfolio committees. So it's been quite refreshing from that point of view. Been open dialogue and engaging and so on. So it's accessible. And that helps because we also have industry forums. We have ACT. We have Digital Council Africa, and these things get discussed there. And so it's starting to speed up because we have to get it done very quickly. There's an urgency behind it because once it gets going, it's like wildfire. And it will be very difficult to then start mitigating retrospectively for what could happen. Again, the unintended consequence. My gut feel is that it will be months and not years. So, if we're north of or inside of 12 months, I think we would have achieved something really well. We're also dealing with a GNU that's now getting to know each other. If you take this sector, you have different political parties in the same, minister, deputy minister, and there's a way of working that you have to get through. So that's not a bad thing. It just takes a little bit of time. So, but they're very supportive and they're very engaging and they want to get it done. So I'm hoping we can do it within 12 months.
I just got one follow-up question. With regards to data, I think that's very important. The president has mentioned it in the State of the Nation address a few times. The minister, Mr. Malatsi, also mentioned about making data cheaper and making handsets cheaper. At the moment, a price of a top-end handset goes from anything from 20,000 to probably 50, 60,000 rand, depending on what you want. But with regards to data, and again, youngsters, you spoke about youngsters being sitting on their cell phones. Are we going to see a reduction? I'm talking of significant reduction in data costs and handset prices over the years.
I can talk for the cost of data, and I can talk specifically Cell C. You will see prices continue to come down. So maybe if I can, it's a small pitch, but I'll do it super quickly to answer that question. What we've done is we've switched off our radio access network, because rather than spending 10 billion a year in capex and playing catch up with two bigger players like MTN and Vodacom in South Africa, we've decided to buy technology services. So you leapfrog and you get the same quality. And in fact, we'll be the only network where one's off and the other one is on. So the big man upstairs blessed us with red and yellow coming together, gives you orange. So we're quite lucky that that's what's happened.
Initially it was blue, so I don't know what you would have done if it stayed blue. I want to take one other quick question, please, if we have one on the side. Can I please have that one quick one, and then we're going to wrap up and try and be on time.
Hi, this is Akram from Geek Hub. This question is for Vinod. Regarding artificial intelligence, I mean, you guys just discussed how it's growing so rapidly, and now it's in consumer devices and so easily accessible. Google's mission of taking the world's information and bringing it together, it's also with AI, it opens up the risk for misinformation or disinformation, especially with the likes of AI search and Gemini, etc., scouring the internet to provide that to consumers. What is Google doing to address this kind of issue?
Thank you.
So I think there are better people to answer that question, but if I take it in a very quick nutshell, it's like I said, we are working closely with the local authorities in terms of what regulations are in place in each and every market, and we operate and we remain compliant with those. We work very closely with them. We have an extensive government affairs and policy teams working in the country, in the rest of the continent as well. And we try to remain as compliant as possible. But I would have to get back to you on this question through through experts who can better answer this than I could.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Fred? Thank you so much. I think we want to be on time. Like you said, it was actually important that we are on time. I'm sold. I don't know if anyone else is. It's been incredible to use it. Absolutely sold. I'll try and see if I can promote the brand privately. Your support will be your support in letting Fred know how important it is to have good brand ambassadors will be helpful.
Thank you so much.
Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you for your time. Thank you.